Ready to take things to a new level? This is Level On Up with Sadia.
Welcome, Amy Sheppard, and happy Valentine's Day, by the way.
And to you too.
Lovely
day.
I'm sure you'd be celebrating. You recently got married. How's marriage life going?
Oh, look, same as before, if I'm being honest. But no, today's a lovely day. We're going to go out for dinner and just, got to make special days like this count because, we try not to take each other for granted, but yeah, we don't get too into it with roses and all that crazy stuff.
Well, why love is in the air, what is the main couple goals when it comes to relationships?
Honestly, I think it's communication. Lockie and I do spend a lot of time apart because of obviously what I do. But it's really, I think, important just to get on the phone at the end of the day, have a FaceTime and really make sure we're on the same page still. I think that's really been the secret to our long relationship.
Is it fair to say the new single, congratulations, Couple Goals, is based on your relationship?
Yeah, definitely. This whole song's just about meeting the one and just knowing that you can see yourself as an old person together and have people talk about you as if you're couple goals. So that's what the whole song's based around is, I guess my relationship with Lockie. And
you've done well because I believe there's a podcast by the same name too.
Yeah, we've been busy. Before the song came out, we had been talking about doing a podcast together, but I just didn't really find anything like the premise of anything interesting enough to delve into it. And then when I had the song, I was like, why don't we, pull back the layers of our relationship? And I think it just gives fans something else to get to know us better. And but it's all lighthearted. It's not like a self-help relationship podcast. It's more like, come in, hear us bicker, hear us talk about what we've been up to, and then at the end of it, we set each other a couple goal to work on for the week.
That's fantastic, and that's one of the things I admire about you most, Amy. You're very body positive too. I've seen on your social media in regards to just being true to yourself. Is that something that you've struggled with over the years?
Yeah, definitely. From a really young age, I was aware of my body and how it was different to others. No fault of my own, like kids are exposed to so much and even more so these days. But it's when I finally started to pull back the layers of why I was feeling this way, I could see that it really wasn't my fault and it wasn't my body that was at fault. It was the way that I was brought up and the society we live in and the beauty standards are just ridiculous. And so now that I have a profile and a platform, I choose to share the journey that I've been on and help others along the way.
And do you think that's helped create a stronger connection with your fans as well?
I think so. I think people want somebody to relate to. They don't need another person on a pedestal who they can't reach. They need somebody who can say, hey, you can have cellulite, you can have roles, and you can still be successful and you can write a great song. It doesn't matter what you look like. So that's the person that I want to be.
Well, you've definitely proved that time and time again. My next question is, how do you juggle married life, a solo career, and of course, Sheppard?
It's busy. It's been since I released this solo career as well. I've definitely felt the pressure, but it's been great as well. Really great learning curve. I think, maintaining the relationship's great. Lockie works for himself. He's got his own business going on. So he's really flexible. And I think it is just kind of rolling with the punches as they come and going with the flow. And as I said, for the relationship side of things, communication and just making sure we've got a synced up calendar. And then, he comes on the road whenever he can, which really helps.
And you've released an EP. What was the process with that versus obviously writing with Sheppard?
I think it's taken me a little bit longer than, other artists who just solely focus on their one career. Obviously, I've got Sheppard going on in the background, so I'm kind of like doing the juggle. But also this particular EP, I started writing it before COVID broke out. And then, of course, that happened and wiped 2 years plate and everyone else's plate. But so it has been a really long process to try and get this out there. But now I feel like I'm in my groove and I know what I'm doing. I know the people I want to work with. So I think for the next batch of songs, it's going to be an easier process.
And you worked with, naturally you worked with amazing artists in Sheppard, but you worked with some amazing artists also on this EP.
Yeah, the Wolf Brothers as well. They were great guys who invited me down to Launceston to write with them when they heard that I was doing a country project. Um, so I actually wrote a couple goals with them, and I'm going back in February at the end of this month to write again with them because I just love those guys. I wrote with Phil Barton, who's an incredible Australian songwriter living in Nashville. Lindsay Rhymes produced the EP, and he's worked with the likes of Kane Brown, Kelsey Ballerini, to name a few. So yeah, I feel very, very fortunate to have been accepted into the music industry, the country industry, and it's been a great journey. It's a lovely industry to be a part of.
Was there anybody in particular that you were excited about meeting in the country industry, the country music industry?
Good question. I think the songwriters really, really excite me because I'm just interested to see how people write songs differently to what I'm so used to with Sheppard. I mean, everyone has their own process. Even if it is similar, it's always a little bit different. So yeah, it's been great sort of connecting with some of the other songwriters. Even if I haven't written a song with them, like Melanie Dyer, for example, she's just an amazing songwriter, and hearing the way that she songwrites, you're always learning. Even if you don't write with them, you're learning from just hearing the songs and being in their presence. So that's been my most exciting part.
It's fair to say that you've got a very musical family. Do you know where it all stems back from?
Um, I think I'm not too sure. My dad played piano. He was very good, but he could only ever like read music. He never played for enjoyment. So I think that he really instilled in us that we should learn for enjoyment rather than, because it becomes a punishment as a kid when you're sitting there. But yeah, so that was helpful, having supportive parents, but also our music teacher when we were growing up, he was an incredible musician, and he became our mentor in our later years or the early years of Sheppard. But he was a part of Yothu Yindi. He was a session musician for the likes of Madonna and Janet Jackson, and had toured all around the world. So hearing his stories about touring really ignited something in me, and that's what I wanted to do.
Do you remember the first song you ever learnt?
It was Country Road, Take Me Home.
So this was destined to be. You're always meant to be in country music.
Absolutely. I mean, growing up, I listened to pretty much almost all country because we grew up in PNG, and so I wasn't really exposed to a lot of the outside world, but I was just listening to what my parents were listening to in their record collection. My dad's a huge country music fan, so and of course it was the 90s, so when the country music channel was on, it was Shania Twain and Casey Chambers, Faith Hill, and that's really when I was learning how to songwrite, so it's definitely rubbed off on me.
So what can we expect from Amy Sheppard in the future?
Well, I've got a ton of new songs. I'm doing a few shows, which you can check out on my website, because there's a few of them peppered around the country. But yeah, definitely more music. I'm working on juggling with Sheppard because we've got our fourth album coming out as well. So yeah, I'd like to release another body of work, whether that's an album or another EP. There's lots of songs coming your way. So yeah, please keep up to date on my socials or at Amy Sheppard Pie on my website.
Well, that's quite exciting. Fourth album on the horizon for the band. How much has the music industry itself changed since you burst in on the scene with Geronimo?
Oh, it's changed. It's a different place completely with, the rise of Spotify. When Geronimo came out, Spotify, it was there, but it wasn't being used. It was still all about iTunes and getting up the iTunes charts. TikTok obviously didn't exist. So things have really, really changed with the rise of all those things. And it's just something that it's going to continue to change. Nothing stays the same for very long. So you've just got to try and, tread water and get through and learn and continue to push through.
Do you think your approach to releasing music has changed since obviously the start as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think we try and release songs more frequently now, which has its benefits and its downfalls. It's hard to, I guess, for a song to live out its true potential when you're releasing songs and they kind of start competing with each other. But also, we live in a world of algorithms, so I think it is important to keep the algorithm and people happy with just like constant new music. The way we consume music is just so fast paced now. So I think that's yeah, that's definitely something we've tried to incorporate, is just regular releases.
Now, we touched briefly on COVID. Did you learn any new skills while isolated from the rest of the world?
Well, besides writing country music and swapping from pop to country and working how to like interchange that, weird things like I learned how to do the splits.
That's impressive.
How to cook and then quickly forgot. Yeah, and then I skills as well.
So if I was to rock up to your place, what would you and Lockie cook me while we're talking about cooking skills?
What would I cook you? Probably lamb shanks and mashed potato.
I'm there.
Like, kind of. I'm not very good at cooking, so that's the best you're getting.
Well, thank you so much for having the chat, and love the hair, by the way. How long have you been sporting that for?
It's got to be 9 or 10 years now.
Well, I hope you celebrate the 10-year anniversary of blue hair.
I will. I'll have to find. I know what date it was. I just got to find the actual. What I know the day it was. I just got to find the date. So, yeah, I can look back and there's photos. So I'll find that. Thank
you again. If people want to find out more about Amy Sheppard, where do they head to?
Yeah, so socials, they're all at Amy Sheppard Pie. My website is Amy Sheppard Official. And that's probably the best spot. Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Follow Level On Up podcast on Instagram.